I came to Vietnam to live and I was working here as a teacher in a university. But while I was teaching, I noticed a lot of street kids here in Hanoi, and at the time there were almost no services for them, especially the younger kids. They'd all come in from the countryside and were earning money on the street. And that money was to go back to support their families so their siblings could go to school. And I started teaching English to these kids just in my spare time, just after hours, sitting in the cafe by the side of the road. And it all just grew from there. One of my university students got involved, and a young man named Chung, he came along and said, well, let me help. You know, you're a foreigner and you're doing this thing in my country. How about I do this with you? And so the two of us started teaching English to street kids. And from there a football team started. We started teaching all different subjects and offering meals to street kids. And so just a very simple activity out of hours came to dominate my life. We work with about 1,550 children. Many of them are street kids, and there are also lots of kids who have been trafficked, and we have actually gone and rescued them from their places of trafficking and brought them home. And a lot of rural kids as well who live in country areas that are being targeted by human traffickers. So we have our teams of staff who come from all different backgrounds. Some of my staff used to be street kids. In fact, some were among those first street kids that I taught English to back in 2002, 2003. And we offer individual casework for the kids who come to us. So there are some kids who need help to go to school. So we have classes, we have activities here at our centre, Dragon House in Hanoi. And for each of those children, we have a different plan for how we're going to help. Since Blue Dragon started, we've helped more than 2,500 kids go to school. And there's another 1,000 or so children who we've met through our weekly soccer program. And there are hundreds more kids who we've met perhaps living on the streets of Hanoi or trafficked into China or into garment factories, and who we've gotten out and within the space of a week or two have gotten home. So we've helped in the thousands until now, and we plan to keep on going, keep on growing and helping more kids in need. Over 11 years we've had some pretty amazing things happen here. We've had kids come to us who were completely illiterate, had never held a pen in their hands, and who, with our help, were able to go to school, become literate, and then go on to get good jobs. But by far the best memories are those of finding kids who'd been trafficked, who'd been tricked into believing they were on their way to a better life, and actually were being taken to be slaves in sweatshops or in brothels. And going and getting them out and seeing their faces when they realise now they have freedom. We're so lucky in Australia that we have such freedom that we take for granted. As an Australian, I come with a certain view of the world, that we can all have a fair go. And so some of those Australianisms that can even be a little bit cliched now. When you're living far from Australia, especially for a long time, you start to realise that there actually is a truth in those. In Australia, we do have an underlying sense of fairness, and we do barrack for the underdog. Well, that's what we're doing here in Vietnam. We're looking for the kids who don't have a fair go in life, who don't have the chance, who are downtrodden. We're all about them. And so when we look into Blue Dragon, we can see that there is very much an Australian spirit driving our beliefs and driving our work with the kids.